Hi, today I'm going to do a quick run through of how to play 1 Hour Skirmish by John Lambshead. 1 Hour Skirmish is a fast-paced set of skirmish rules designed to cover Napoleonics right through to sci-fi. So to play, you'll need between a 4-foot to a 3-foot square table, and that will need to be covered with a lot of terrain in order to give your figures tactical choices and also cover from line of sight and all that sort of stuff. The thing that you won't be needing are dice. Oh my. So instead of dice, what you'll be needing are playing cards. A normal 52 card deck with 2 jokers. You also need 2 opposing armies between 6 to 12 figures per side, and a tape measure. In this video I'm only going to go through the basics, things like the turn, how to shoot, how to fight, and morale. That's pretty much it. I'm not going to be dealing with things like tanks and other AFVs or crew serve weapons like heavy machine guns or cannons or things like that. I'm also not going to be dealing with leaders or special abilities. So all of that is available in the book, which at $12.99 is a steal, and I do recommend you pick up a copy. It is a great game. So on to starting the game. So to begin with, you'll need to select a scenario from the book or create one yourself. The rules are there for creating a scenario. So the game's over when either the scenario objectives have been met or one or possibly both sides have failed their morale test and fled from the table. So when it comes to the cards, they're worth the value that they have on them. So an 8 is worth an 8, a 4 is worth a 4. An ace is worth a 1, so aces are low. A jack, however, is worth 11, a queen is worth 12, and a king a whopping 13. Quite often during the game, both players will draw a card and compare their values and see who's got the highest. Now, it's entirely possible that 2 players could draw the same, so they might both draw, say, a 7. And if they do, the way this is resolved is spades beat hearts, that beat diamonds, that beats clubs. Now I know that sounds like a lot to remember during the game and very complicated and fiddly, but the author does give us a simple mnemonic to remember it, which is superheroes don't cry. So that's spades, hearts, diamonds, clubs. Superheroes don't cry. So if you were both to draw the same card, say the 7 of diamonds, there's no way of resolving that. So what you'd do is you both draw another card. So now we're ready to start the game. Both players get their own deck of cards. And to see who goes first, both players turn over a card. In this case, the Spanish have drawn an 8, which obviously beats a 6, so they go first. So the first thing that they'll do is they will then turn over a card to see how many action points they have. Each model can perform up to 3 actions per turn. The first action costs 1 point, the next action costs 3 points, and the final action costs 5 points. Let's say that our plucky Spanish gorilla at the back here wants to move up and have a shot at these guys. So the first move will cost 1 point, and the next move will cost an additional 3 points, so that's a total of 4 points. As part of the move, they're also allowed to shoot, so he can have a shot at one of the opponents. If a joker's drawn at any point during the turn ends immediately, and things like shooting and combat are not resolved. No matter where you are through the thing, that's it, it's the end of the turn. You skip immediately straight onto the end of turn activities. It's also worth noting that any unused action points are not carried over till the next phase, they are simply lost. Infantry moves at 6 inches per turn. It's not affected by any terrain that's lower than waist height. However, when they come up against obstacles like our fence here, in one action they can move up to the fence, and it takes a complete action to go over the fence from one side of it to the next. So in order to do this move, it would actually cost 1 action point to get here, and if they wanted to do it in the same phase, it would then cost another 3 action points to get over the fence, giving us a total of 4 action points. So if the warrior wanted to climb something taller, say a low building, it would cost 2 action points to climb from the foot of the building to be on top of it. So in order to avoid any argy-bargy, it's strongly suggested that you agree on terrain effects before you start the game. So shooting can be done as part of a move action, or it can be done in its own action, costing a single point. The shooter must have line of sight to the target. If the target's obscured by, say, a wall, a hedge, or something like that, then the target will get a cover bonus. So let's see how shooting works. To start with, both the shooter and the target draw a card. So in this case, if our French soldier here is shooting at our Spanish guerrilla here, the Frenchman's drawn a 5, the Spaniard has drawn a 4, which means that the Spaniard gets shot. When they're shot, you place the figure down on their side to indicate that they've been downed. Now at this point we don't actually know if the figure is a casualty and they're out of the game, or if they were simply diving for cover and at the end of the turn they're going to spring back up, but we'll get onto that in a minute. But because our Spaniard was actually behind a fence, he gets a soft cover bonus, which means that he gets to draw another card, and he gets a 9. The 9 beats the shooter's 5, which means that he's not been hit. If he's behind hard cover and his first 2 cards fail to beat the shooter, then he would get a 3rd card to see if that beats the shooter. So I'm just about to get on to close combat, which is very bloody in 1 Hour Skirmish. But before I do, please take a moment just to hit subscribe. It really does help me and it encourages me. This is a new channel, I'm very new to all this, and I'd really appreciate your support. And also please leave a comment. I'd love to get your thoughts on this video and also any videos that you'd like me to do in the future. Anyway, so back to close combat. So close combat is resolved in a similar way. Let's say that we have our plucky Spaniard here, and he gets up, he charges this Frenchman, and because he's charging, he will actually draw 2 cards. The defender will draw 1 card. Now the attacker discards his lowest card and plays his top card, and the defender uses whatever card they've got. Now in this instance, because the defender has drawn a 1, an ace, a 1, then the defender is killed. Now it should be noted the defender is removed completely from the game. They're not downed in the same way they are from shooting. At the end of the turn you need to check your army's morale. You do this by totalling the number of casualties plus the number of downed troops, then drawing a card and comparing that to the number of downed and casualty figures. If the card that you've drawn is higher than the number of downed and casualty figures, I should say, then you have passed your morale and you continue. If however it's equal to or lower than that, then you've lost and the game's over. Now it should be noted that if both players fail their morale, then actually it's a draw. As I'd previously mentioned, when a soldier gets shot, they get downed. So this means that at the end of the turn, after you've checked their morale, you then check to see if they're still in the game or if they're out. To do this, you simply draw a card. Black means that they're back in the game and you stand them up and they continue as normal. And if you draw a red, then that means that they're dead and they're out of the game. I hope you've enjoyed this quick overview of 1 Hour Skirmish. It's a great game and I hope you give it a go. It's really good fun. And also, please, once again, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really does help me and I really do appreciate it. Thank you ever so much for watching, and goodbye and happy gaming.